Good day! So my interest in Korean dramas and K-pop industry really pushes me to gather information about the influences of K-dramas and K-pop industry to my fellow Filipinos. So my report will focus to the influences of K-dramas and K-pop industry in terms of our clothing style, entertainment, food, and language. So in clothing style, many Filipino fans mimic the fashion sense of Koreans. Many Filipino fans, usually Finns, mimic the modern fashion sense of Koreans. We can also notice that many Korean clothing and Korean accessory shops are all around the country. Korean fashion trends exploded among Filipino fans who love being hip and chic with the new. Out of 100%, there are 80% of Filipinos watching Korean novelas that mimic this style of clothing of their idols. Because of this demand of Filipino fans in Korean clothing, many Korean clothing shops and accessories is everywhere to be found in the country. In terms of entertainment, a lot of Korean dramas are already dubbed in Tagalog, and it is already a proof that many Filipinos are really into K-dramas. K-pop music is often heard everywhere, and this really proves that K-pop industry is not new to Filipino. Korean dramas are since the 20s. Huge demands from Filipino viewers prompted Philippine television to import South Korean programs only. Korean dramas began broadcasting in the Philippines in 2003. The very first Korean dramas aired in the Philippines was GMA's broadcast of Brighton. There are more than 30 Korean dramas are already dubbed in Tagalog, broadcast in the leading television in the country. In terms of food, Korean food is not also new to our taste. Korean barbecue restaurants are everywhere to be found in the country. Common side dishes of Korean food were also introduced and embraced by Filipinos. And remember, when spicy foods, especially the ramyun samjang, become a trend in the Philippines. Most people who are likely to visit Korean barbecue restaurants in the country are those people who are really into Korean dramas. And 50% of these people are in group with students, office employees, and barkadas. And lastly, in terms of language, it is not undeniable that Korean language is being learned in the Philippines, especially those people like me who are really into Korean dramas and K-pop industry. Most of the Filipino fans have already know some basic words of Koreans, like annyeong, which means hi, oppa, which means older brother, and saranghae, which means I love you. In the findings published by Word Tips, an online finder platform, data reveals that in the 26 countries in the Asian Oceania, the Philippines has a huge number of locals who are wanting to learn Korean language. Filipino teens and fans are most likely to learn Korean language, and it shows that 75% of Filipino fans already started to learn Korean language. So, it is not really new to us, the Korean culture, as most of us are already embracing it. The information shows that K-dramas and K-pop culture industry is bringing the Korean culture in the country. The influences of Korean dramas and K-pop industry is the reason why we Filipinos embracing the Korean culture. And that is my report to the influences of Korean dramas and K-pop culture to our country. Have a great day, everyone!